All right, guys. Welcome to Flav Oriana's MMA show. I'm your host, Flav Oriana, brought to you by Four Corner Sports. All right, guys. So, a lot has transpired in the UFC. Yes, guys, a lot has transpired. So, remember the video that I ended up making out about Max Holloway and Alexander Volkanovski? Well, that fight is not going to happen, okay? Now, Volkanovski will be fighting, but it got pushed to the UFC 273 card on April 9th, all right? And Aljamain Sterling and Peter Yan will be fighting, but it will no longer be on UFC 272, okay? That got pushed back to UFC 273, and that will be the co-main event. Aljamain is going to be defending his title against Peter Yan. That's going to be a unification bout to unify the interim title and the the bantamweight title. As for Alexander Volkanovski, he will be defending his featherweight title, not against Max Holloway because he ended up re-aggravating an injury, but he will be fighting Chang Jong-sung, the Korean zombie. And that's what I have to break for you, because now for UFC 272, March 5th, we'll be having a new main event. All right, and it's the main event that we've been wanting to have. Well, maybe not the main event, but at least this matchup we've been asking for quite some time. It's been a couple of years building up to this, but we are finally going to get Colby Covington versus Jorge Masvidal in Las Vegas to main event UFC 272. Now, this will be a non-title fight, obviously, because Masvidal, the last time we saw him fight, he ended up losing to the champ Kamaru Usman. And the last time we saw Colby Covington fight, he ended up losing to Kamaru Usman as well. So, both guys came off of losses to Usman. They're fighting. I know ESPN, the UFC, they are trying to promote this as best friends turn into foes, as teammates turn into enemies, which is all true, all right? And a lot of this has been building up because of the fact that both of them were training partners, both of them were best friends, both of them, I believe, were roommates, if I'm not mistaken, back when they were training at American Top Team. Now, Jorge Masvidal is currently still training there. Colby Covington, he is training at MMA Masters, which is also located in Florida, but it's just a little bit below the whole, I believe it was like Boca Raton area. And this is very exciting because of the fact that Jorge Masvidal, as big of a star as we have, that's not Conor McGregor, and that's not possibly Nate Diaz. He joins Conor McGregor and Nate Diaz as being able to headline a pay-per-view more than twice. All right, and what's it called? It's pretty impressive right there, because think about it. That's the star power that you have as Jorge Masvidal. Main evented Madison Square Garden with Nate Diaz and obviously himself. And now he's going to be main eventing in Vegas to fight Colby Covington. I mean, whenever Conor McGregor, main events, I mean, it's been a while since he's been able to hold the title. He obviously, it's a non-title fight. We saw him do it against Dustin Poirier. We saw him do it to Cowboy Cerrone. We saw him do it also with Nate Diaz. We saw Nate Diaz headline, like I said before, Conor, Jorge Masvidal. So, in my opinion, and in a lot of people's opinion, and I feel like it's pretty quite obvious, the three biggest names in the sport of MMA are Nate Diaz, Conor McGregor, and Jorge Masvidal. Not maybe in that particular order, but you can chronological. You can put it in whatever order you want to put it in. Okay, so that's a very big fight right there. I mean, there's a lot at stake. I feel like for both gentlemen, because of the fact that you have Masvidal, who has come to back-to-back losses against Kamaru Usman. He has been wanting to fight. He wanted to fight back in December. He had an injury. He had to pull out against Leon Edwards. I believe Leon Edwards is most likely going to end up fighting Kamaru Usman. It's important for Masvidal to get a victory because, back-to-back losses off of Usman, the road to a title is going to get very, very difficult, just because you have people like Gilbert Burns who's trying to come back, climb back from that loss that he had against Kamaru Usman, and he's chasing for a title fight. We have now Hamza Chimaev, who's climbing up the rankings, all right, and he's been chirping about trying to get a title shot. You're gonna have Vicente Luque in the background too. You have a couple of people at welterweight who are chirping at the door, trying to get at Kamaru Usman, and Masvidal and Covington are the two most recent people to lose to Usman. They are willing to try to fight, whatever opponent that's in front of them, to try to climb back into title contention. And for Colby Covington, he's gave Kamaru Usman in both matches that he had against Usman. I felt like that was the most that Usman had to exert into trying to get a victory. I mean, we saw the first fight. That was UFC 245, one of the best fights I've ever seen. All right, it was very heated, it's very personal. It went 5 rounds. It didn't completely go all 5 rounds, but in the last waning minutes, we ended up seeing Kamaru Usman drop Covington, and then Mark Goddard steps in and stopping the fight, because Covington was just getting he's getting the brakes beaten off of him. And with the second fight, we ended up seeing it was a little bit more technical. The second round was a little bit more intense. I thought Usman was gonna go for the finish, but Covington was able to survive all 5 rounds. In my opinion, Usman did end up winning 4 rounds to 1. And I mean, you could also debate it 3 rounds to 2, whatever way you slice it. But as long as Usman was the winner in your eyes at the Madison Square Garden card, that's all that matters. Very interesting to see what's going to end up happening for UFC 272. I mean, they made news that Kevin Holland, he's going to be fighting. I believe Kevin Holland. Yeah, Kevin Holland is. Forgot exactly who he's fighting. Yeah, I remember. It's not somebody easy. I believe it was like Cowboy Oliveira, which is a good fight for his introductory for the welterweight division. But we have that fight going on. I mean, there's rumors that Nate Diaz and Dustin Poirier are going to fight. Maybe not on that card, but that may be something to look forward to. So a lot of good things are coming up in the first quarter of 2022 that are already being made. We got fights. The UFC is trying to set up the card for that UFC Columbus card in Columbus, Ohio. That card is trying to get finalized from top to bottom. We got UFC Vegas 46 between Giga Chikadze and Calvin Kattar this Saturday. That's coming up right now. And then obviously you have UFC 270 and Ngannou versus Gane, the unification fight to unify the heavyweight title. So you have all that going down. But yes, UFC 272 has had a major change. The 2 title fights that were originally supposed to be on that got pushed for UFC 273, and they ended up making a non-title main event for the pay-per-view of USA 272, which will be headlined by Jorge Gamebred Masvidal versus Colby Chaos Covington. Guys, I cannot wait for that pay-per-view. I cannot wait for that matchup. Stylistically, I feel like what we're going to end up seeing is Colby going to try to wrestle Jorge Masvidal. I believe Masvidal, he's going to have to work with his wrestling coach or whatever, his wrestling partner, Bo Nickel, to really try to work on his wrestling takedown defense. If he's able to do that, because remember, both these guys are former training partners, and both these guys have an idea on how one wants to fight. I wouldn't recommend Covington to go in a stand-up war with Masvidal. He's been in the training room with him before. I'm pretty sure he knows the way that Masvidal tries to strike, and it's gonna be a real testament. Who's gonna be able to prevail? Is Covington's wrestling gonna be too much for Masvidal, or is Masvidal striking? Is he gonna be able to land that one punch that he needs to drop Covington and then go for the kill? That's something that we're gonna be asking ourselves from now until UFC 272. But until then, guys, I am Flav Oriana. Thank you for tuning in to Flav Oriana's MMA show. Please hit that like and subscribe button, guys. It really helps out the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. All right, guys. Peace, guys, and have a good one. See ya.